Welcome everyone. My name is Gabriel. I'm the founder of H3 Yoga, as well as one of the founders of the Glow Hot Yoga Studio in Huntington Beach, California. I want to share with you a few tips on Sun Salutation today. There's over 100 ways that you can do Sun Salutations. However, in technicality, there are 3 primary expressions of Sun Salutations. 2 of them belong to the Ashtanga yoga system, which many yoga studios in today make variations on Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation B, and then we have a classical Sun Salutation. I have seen so many yoga teachers that claim that they know Sun Salutation A, and yet they perform a Sun Salutation that's a variation on it, not really the actual Sun Salutation A. So let's at least explore and understand what the 10 steps of Sun Salutation A are, and then we'll see a few variations on them. We'll see Sun Salutation B in its completeness, and then some variations on top of that. At the Glow Hot Yoga Studio, we have a Sun Salutation sequence that is influenced by Sun Salutation A and B. And as much as you would like someone to call you by your name, for instance, my name is Gabriel, and while some people call me Gabe, and some people call me Gabi, and I don't have a problem with the various names that they might provide for me, if you're going to call something, at least know what it is. So if you're going to call Sun Salutation A, then let's make sure that you're doing it with the 10 steps. If you're doing a Sun Salutation A variation, then at least be honest to help your students have an understanding of where it comes from, and call it a Sun Salutation A variation, as opposed to naming it what it is not. The magic thing about yoga is that it allows us to have things that talk about why, and then provide a standpoint for someone to go and research. And today on Google, you can find out all the information that you need, but why not you as the yoga teacher empower your students from the beginning so that they know what it is that they are doing. I'm going to take my shirt off, step onto my mat. Sun Salutation A has 10 steps, has 10 breaths, but technically Sun Salutation A is around the pose we call downward facing dog. That's very important to appreciate. Sun Salutation A understands that the movements of the breath are leading towards one pose, and then within that pose we extract more benefits. Downward facing dog is a shoulder freedom posture, and we'll show a few variations so that you can really appreciate the difference in what happens in down dog. But let us first focus on the 10 steps of Sun Salutation and the 5 breaths that we stay in downward facing dog. So you begin with the front of the mat with your feet together. Ideally the heels are slightly apart and your toes are touching. The hands face the legs, you stand tall, you exhale. And then the inhale brings the arms up. You tilt the head back to look at the hands. There is no back bend, but there's a stretch upward. Then we exhale and we fold and we come all the way down towards the legs. And if you have to bend the knees a little bit, then do that to stretch your back. On an inhale, we lift the spine halfway. That activates the core, but it now also frees the legs to step back. And while some people jump back, that's fine. Your feet are hip apart, and we immediately go to low push-up as we exhale, or you might lie down. We point the toes, we use the legs to lift the heart up. This is called up dog. Notice how my knees are off the floor. But if you have to keep your knees on the floor, you bend the elbows a little bit so your shoulders go down, make it a cobra. But there's one inhale, and then we go to exhale to downward facing dog. The feet are hip apart, the fingers are spread, and we want to look towards the belly. You might not see it, but you look towards the stomach. Notice how the head is heavy and relaxed. If you watch my body, you'll see that I'm pushing my hands flat into the floor. Try not to curl your fingers, putting weight into the wrist, but rather shift the weight forward to the knuckles of your palms. The feet are hip apart, but the legs, as you push your heels back, they might be straight. You may touch the heels on the floor, but you might not. If you feel like you're sinking, notice my body is feeling like it's sinking into the shoulders, it's better to slightly bend the knees. That's going to help you to lift the hips and tuck the chin. And maybe you'll do down dog with your knees bent before you're ready to kick the legs to straight. That was already 5 breaths. So we look up. As we exhale, we bend the knees, we look up. And then we can step or walk or jump. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale, stand up. Stretch the arms up over the head. The palms will touch. And then exhale, the hands come down by the legs. So the 10 steps, 10 movements. And let me show you a few variations on Sun Salutation A, as most people do variation on it. So we exhale, and then inhale, the arms go up, and maybe we'll even take a back bend like they do in the power yoga styles. And then we exhale, we fold. Inhale, a flat back. Exhale, you might take it to high push-up. To set it up, you inhale, you look at everything, you make sure your feet are hip apart. Notice that I'm on my toes. I push the heels backwards, and I move my body forward. And when I come into low push-up, I'm still curled at the toes, creating freedom. I'm not trying to rise way up high on the tip of the toe. That's going to only cause you injury over time. I then flip the toes, and I can come to up dog like we did before, or maybe cobra. But remember, in up dog, it's the legs. Notice how I use my feet. They push, my knees lift, my hands press, and I drive my chest through, the shoulders up. Maybe you look up, but maybe you don't want to look up. In a power style, sometimes they guide your head to stay forward. And then we exhale, we go back over the toes to downward dog. Once again, if I lift way up high on my toes in down dog, my weight will automatically shift into my shoulders, causing strain in my shoulders. So rather than lifting way up high on the toes, think of lightly bending the knees. The weight comes off the shoulders, as you can see. And then I can push and lift my tail, lifting my body off the shoulders. If I'm high on the toes, there's no way to come off the shoulders. But if I don't lift on the toes and I just bend the knees, I slacken the spine, and then I can create freedom in the shoulders. Whether I keep my legs straight or bent at the knees, don't stress your shoulders for some idea of the legs. And in the power style, they might say only 3 breaths or 5 breaths. So we exhale, bend the knees, look up, walk or jump to a flat back. Inhale, fold deep into the legs. Exhale. And in the power style, the inhale, they come up into a back bend. And then they keep flowing by moving right down and continuing. Exhale. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale to a low push-up. Inhale to up dog, and exhale to down dog. So we just saw a few variations on Sun Salutation A. Let me show you a variation that we do at the Gloha Yoga Studio. At the Gloha Yoga Studios, we're in down dog, and then we lift the leg up, we point the toe, we lower down. Notice the foot is flexed in down dog, so I'm going to free up the ankle by pointing the toes, lifting as high as I can to stretch the hip. The leg goes down. The right leg goes up. We bend the knee and we create even more freedom by twisting. The right leg goes down. The left leg goes up. We bend the knee, we twist, we open the hip, we look up. The left foot steps. The right foot steps. We have a half lift inhale, like they do in the Ashtanga Sun Salutation A. And then we exhale, we fold into the legs. We inhale, we rise. Our hands touch, and we take a back bend, a variation to the A. And then exhale, we fold. Inhale to a flat back. Maybe the hands are on the ankles or the knees if we need to. Hands on the floor, we step. And we actually set up the high push-up, so we look. The feet are hip apart, we're on the toes. If you don't want to be on the toes, you can go down to the knees. You look at the floor between the hands, you move forward a bit. Notice I'm still on my toes. The elbows bend to low push-up or lie down. Point the toes, use your legs, lift the chest, shoulders down to up dog. And then we go back to down dog. And then we'll just repeat it, so we'll come forward again to high push-up. We lower down to low push-up. We come up to up dog as we lift the heart. And we go to down dog. And now that we know how to do these movements, we'll combine the movements with the breath. So inhale to high push-up, exhale low push-up, inhale up dog, and then exhale down dog. So that's the variation that we apply at the Gloha Yoga Studio and in a variety of studios that run the H3 style yoga training. This is the beginning sun salutation of what we call BikYasa, the combination of hot and flow, targeting more success and relaxation for the body. Thank you so much for joining us here for Sun Salutation A. In our next video, we'll break down Sun Salutation B. In the video after that, if you look, you can see the classical Sun Salutation and appreciate the differences as well as the combinations if you would like to vary them. Do look down and click on the link below, join our Facebook or subscribe to our channel. But remember to click down right here over on the right side of the screen. Thank you for joining. Namaste.